On this week's episode of Nosebleed Radio, we welcome on Mikey Grinnell of Spittin Chiclets podcast. We talk NHL playoffs with him. Really a great conversation. Make sure you listen to that. Before the interview, we dive right into the NBA playoffs, talk a little bit of Rockets and Warriors, Cavs, Celtics. After the interview, we talk a little bit of baseball. James Paxton tosses a no-no. Yankees and Red Sox, that rivalry is back. After baseball, we have some special announcements from us here at Nosebleed Knowledge, so let's get to it. Roll the music.
Ladies and gentlemen, may I have your attention, please?
You're listening to Nosebleed Radio. Here's your host, Tucker Franklin.
What is up? Welcome to another episode of Nosebleed Radio. I'm here with the boys, Kieran Brennan.
How's it going?
Toby Todd.
What's up?
And Shane Miller.
Hey, how's it going, Roll Hawks?
Episode 14, I understand we got a special guest with us, Toby, don't we?
Yes, we do. This is Gannon Cornley, who already appeared on an episode. He's here with me at my house, and he's willing to discuss all these topics we're about to talk about. Maybe give some hot takes of his own, bash us for ours. So we'll see where it goes.
Thank you guys for having me again.
Hey, no problem. First recurring
guest.
guest. The first one. OG recurring guest, like Tech 9. OG.
Yes, sir.
It's episode 14, so we'll do our famous number 14s. Who wants to start us off?
I'll kick it off. I got Craig Morton. Some of the older Dallas Cowboy fans will remember him for his quarterback battle with Roger Staubach. Obviously, Staubach took over the position. The rest is history from there. But it was a solid backup. Not too shabby.
I'll go next. I've got the legendary point guard Bob Cousy, who brought rings to Boston. Boston hoping to gain some more rings. Put another year up in the Raptors with all 6 of his, I believe it is. 6 championships, I believe it is. Either way, he's got the award for best point guard in college basketball named after him. I'm also going Fred Volkov. He's got the award for best wide receiver named after him in the collegiate ranks. Also, unfortunately, played with the Oakland Raiders, but will go down as one of the greatest receivers of all time.
My turn?
Yep.
All right. I'm going to go Mr. Doug Wickenheiser. He was an integral piece to the Monday Night Miracle, which if you're a St. Louis hockey fan, like myself, was a very important win for the franchise's history. Unfortunately, Mr. Wickenheiser passed away, cancer in 96, but his number's retired in our rafters.
I was going to make fun of him, his name, because it sounds weird, but then he said that he died, so no, I can't.
Can't make fun of dead people.
Yeah.
One of those stupid rules.
Yep. I've got 2 number 14s. My first one is the greatest baseball player of all time, Omar Infante, and my second one is Pete Rose.
Future Hall of Famer Pete Rose.
Future Hall of Famer Omar Infante.
Just as funny as the first time I heard it. So we'll go ahead and dive right into the NBA playoffs. Rockets beat the Jazz to make it to the Western Conference Finals. Toby and Gannon, what do you guys think about that series?
In general, you knew going into that series that the Rockets clearly had the upper hand. The best player on the Jazz, unfortunately, plays same as the best player on the Rockets, possibly the best player in the entire Western Conference. And this matchup, just in general, for Utah was a poor one. They gave tremendous effort through the entire series, despite only taking it to 5 games. But that Rockets team, they're so dynamic on offense. This was going to be an uphill battle for the Jazz the entire series.
Yeah, pretty much what you said. The Jazz tried. They tried.
Yeah, they got hot for a little bit.
They gave us a game.
Donovan Mitchell had the dunk of the playoffs.
Donovan Mitchell is an absolute beast, but we all knew what was going to happen. The Rockets, they had a whole other team in mind. The Jazz was just kind of in their way. They were never actually going to let the Jazz beat them. James Harden and Chris Paul were going to combine. They were going to get it done.
Yeah, the Jazz did get hot for a second, but then in Game 5, you had the Red Rockets just exploding all over the hot Jazz. So hot Jazz everywhere coming out of the Red Rockets. So
if you guys remember on a previous podcast, I said, clear eyes, full heart, Mitt Romney can't lose. Jazz just didn't have Mitt Romney show up to enough games, and so they lost. That's. We'll fix it next year.
Another L for Mitt Romney.
Another L for Mitt
Maybe they didn't
Romney.
have clear eyes or a full heart, though. Maybe Mitt Romney was there, but they didn't have full eyes.
Clear eyes. Well,
Something was missing in the formula. Something was missing there.
we'll message one of them and ask them what they were missing.
If any Jazz players are listening, we'd love for you to come on and discuss.
Was it the clear eyes or the Mitt Romney that really got you?
So, Toby, you mentioned that the Rockets really had their mind set on one team, and that was the Warriors. The Warriors had a gentleman's sweep as well. What did you think of that?
That was actually a fun series to watch, even though it only went 5 games. I think, the Warriors, they've been the class of the NBA for the past 3 years now. And Kevin Durant, in a few of those last games that they played, he really showed what he was all about. He kind of reverted back to his days in Oklahoma City when he would just take games over. And I think that inserting Andre Iguodala in the starting lineup for the Warriors, which is something that I was surprised they haven't tried in the past, when they inserted him in the starting lineup, their offense is something fierce. So that I'm expecting in that next series just a whole bunch of points, a whole lot of three-pointer shot, and hopefully a whole lot more of Draymond being a huge dick, so we see more fights in the playoffs.
Did you guys see Draymond's interview where he was talking about how the Rockets kept saying how they just want to play the Warriors? That was their big thing, and he's like, no, we don't care who we play. We just want to win another championship. Do you think there's a little bit of him who's like, a little bit of him that now is like, all right, we really just want to beat the fucking Rockets because they're talking about the trash. I feel like he's such a ego that them specifically calling out the Warriors is now he wants to beat them more than win a championship.
Draymond wants to beat everybody, though. That's just him,
Well, it's ironic and stupid that he would say that because coming into the season last year, he said, we have our minds completely on the Cleveland Cavaliers. Now that the Rockets have their eyes completely on the Golden State Warriors, it's somehow a bad thing, but it was completely fine when Draymond Green said all eyes on the Cavaliers.
Just like digging up old tweets.
I think the quote. I think the question was if the Warriors wanted to play Houston as much as Houston wanted to play the Warriors, and Draymond said something like, "He's like, well, yeah, we have to beat the teams in order to get to the championship. So if we have to play the Rockets, then that's the team we have to beat in order to get to the championship."
Moving on to the Eastern Conference, the Cavs just embarrassed the Raptors, sweep them. We thought this Raptors team was going to be different, but now they're the LeBronto Raptors.
Yeah, I think LeBron is now just the president of Canada. I think he kind of took over there.
Prime
That
Minister.
was absolutely embarrassing. Yeah,
Only
no, he's
real
the president now.
savages. Only real savages just outright sweep somebody. Like, look at these other 3 series, gentlemen sweeps. But no, LeBron couldn't even give them one.
What a dick.
LeBron's
What
not a
a
gentleman.
dick.
Hot
No.
take. Not a gentleman. After all he's done for the city of Akron and the state of Ohio, not a gentleman.
That state does not deserve what LeBron James has given them. That's a garbage state. Screw Ohio.
There's nothing wrong with Ohio.
LeBron James.
It's like the
Miami
state of
Heat for
LeBron
life.
is what it is. You should just rename it to, instead of Ohio, just name it to LeBron.
It was interesting, though, because everybody talked about the Raptors, like how deep they are, going into the series and how LeBron couldn't beat a deep team on his own, but it really shows you how good LeBron is as a player. Like this, in my mind, this is another thing that solidifies him as the greatest of all time, because he literally single-handedly took down the Toronto Raptors, and they have one of the deepest teams out there that was in the playoffs at the time. But when it comes to when you got the best 5 guys on the court on both teams, LeBron is better than their best 5 guys just on his own.
It seemed that way at least through the first 2 series that it didn't matter who was checking him, who was on the court at that time. And that's another thing with the Raptors too, is that DeRozan got a shockingly low amount of minutes. He was benched in fourth quarters. He didn't get the ball in clutch situations. And this was supposed to be your workhorse.
Yeah.
He's come off the best regular season of his entire career, and he just absolutely laid an egg. And like Kieran brought up a previous podcast, I'll say it, in a previous podcast I said it would be the Kyle Lowry that would doom the Raptors. I didn't think it would be DeRozan literally not showing up for 4 games that would determine the Raptors' fate, which was pretty much already sealed as soon as the Cavaliers won Game 7, because they are deathly afraid of that, man.
Well, I mean, Gannon, you even talked about it when LeBron was like calling out Toronto's offense and telling them how to run their own offense better mid-game. Like, that is just so embarrassing to have the guy across from you on the court being like, no, you guys need you be over there. That's a better offense for you guys. That's such an alpha move.
That is downright disrespectful.
Yeah.
Gannon, are you a LeBron guy?
I like LeBron. It's all about Kobe for me. So.
Okay.
Part of me, for some reason, I knew you were gonna say Kobe. I don't know why.
Because Kobe's where it's at.
But
I'm cool with LeBron. I don't understand why you have to either like LeBron or like Kobe. I like them both, but just Kobe. Yeah. Kobe's my guy.
He just saying that come finals he'll be a Golden State Laker just so LeBron don't get his ring count up.
Do you like number 8
Really?
Kobe or number 24 Kobe better?
2-4 any day of the week.
All right.
2-4 any day.
Yeah, Gannon.
8 was a rapist.
Put that on the record.
No, is it?
What is it about LeBron? It's not even necessarily him getting his ring cut up. It's these freaking media people. It's gonna be, is LeBron officially the GOAT now? He has 4 rings. LeBron, he's 2 short of Jordan. LeBron's 1 less of Kobe. I'm tired of hearing that.
Shout out Andrew Wick.
It is pretty exhausting.
Andrew Wakely, yeah, hey man, that's the biggest LeBron guy I know.
Yeah, I couldn't.
Sean Livingston's about to be 2 short of Kobe.
Well, you know what? Sean Livingston has 2 finals MVPs and gets 2 jerseys retired, then he can come talk to me.
I'll message him. I'll let him know.
That's a good point. How many other players have 2 jerseys retired by the same team? Not that many.
Either all.
Yeah.
So, only the black
Jackie
guy.
Robinson has his number retired by every team.
That is a fair point.
We'll go ahead and talk about Toby's Celtics. Toby, finally the Philadelphia curse is over for you.
I was so happy. Gannon can tell you yesterday, I was extremely amped up.
It was, it hit a point where it got ridiculous.
So,
Toby,
okay,
ridiculous? No.
Yeah,
So-
it became overwhelming. Me and my boy Montae had to tone this man down just a little bit over the Celtics.
Hey, we were recording a podcast. Hey, it's Montae.
Y'all recording a podcast right now?
Yeah, right now.
Hey, Montae, what's
All
up, man? Live special guest. Live guest right here.
Yeah, live guest entered the studio. All right, y'all, but I'm going to talk about the Celtics now and the Philadelphia curse because I'm not necessarily sure that it was a curse to begin with because the Patriots just got outplayed in the Super Bowl. Michigan was an inferior team to Villanova, just basketball-wise. The better team played this series and won almost in the way you'd expect. It was 4-1 in the series, but it was a pretty competitive series the entire way through. The 76ers' inexperience really showed up. The difference in ability to coach their team really showed up because Brett Brown had no control. Brett Brown had no control over that 76ers team. Brad Stevens, with a few clutch timeouts in Game 3, inserting players into the lineup that, really just impacted the entire game as a whole. I think this game was won as much in preparation and mid-game adjustments as it was just the Celtics having superior players.
Do you think that Brad Stevens can coach his team to a series victory against LeBron? Or do you think this is where it comes to an end?
No. Can he coach them?
Because there's clearly a talent differential with LeBron and then the Celtics, where they're at right now. You know,
the talent differential lies almost solely with LeBron James versus Celtics. But if you look at in total Cavaliers versus Celtics, I would say we have a far superior team, sans LeBron on that Cavs team. I think it's so hard game planning for a guy that can win a series by himself, which LeBron has proven he can do.
Yeah.
But, nobody thought the Celtics would be here. Anyway, as soon as Kyrie and Hayward went down, everybody kind of said, all right, it's a lost season for the Celtics. The 76ers entering the conference semifinals were the Vegas favorites to make it to the NBA Finals, and the Celtics beat them in 5 games. The supposed Rookie of the Year, who's not really a rookie, had the worst plus-minus of any player in that entire postseason, or not the postseason, that series in particular. I think that as long as the Celtics believe they can win, then they'll give themselves a chance to win. It's just when you start to doubt yourself. Like the Raptors lost game 1. They said, here we go again. It's LeBron James. We're not going to win. As long as you believe that there's a chance you can win, at least you'll give yourself that chance. And I think Brad Stevens and the rest of the Celtics really do believe that they have a chance to win the series. So I think, as of right now, they've got not a great chance, but at least a decent one of advancing.
What a motivational
Very inspirational
speech right
quotes.
there. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm inspired.
We were on the same page there, Shane. Let's go ahead and take a break. We'll hear from our interview with Mikey Grinnell of Barstool Sports, producer of Spittin Chiclets podcast. And on the back end of that interview, we'll talk some MLB baseball. We got some big announcements coming from Nosebleed Radio. So here's our guest, Mikey Grinnell. I'd like to welcome on Mikey Grinnell of Spittin Chiclets, super producer is what they say over there. Mikey, how you doing?
What's up, guys? Thanks for having me on.
Thanks for being on, man. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, I'm happy to do it.
So we're going to dive right into the NHL playoffs. One of the big stories was the Capitals finally do it, and they take down the Penguins in 6. What were your thoughts on that series?
Oh, finally, huh, boys? It's about time. It's about time. It's crazy it's taken like this long for Ovechkin to make a conference finals, isn't it?
Yeah. It's been, what, like 9 years or something?
Yeah, it's just, I mean,
that's ridiculous.
You see all the success Crosby's had, and then it's just crazy it's taken him this long, but I can't say I didn't see it coming because I did predict that the Capitals would beat the Penguins. I kind of wrote Biz Nasty in his reasoning behind it, in the sense that, no one was really talking about the Capitals all year, and it seems like every year like they're kind of the talk of the Eastern Conference. So, no one was really talking about them this year, and it just seemed like this might actually be their year. But I mean, I think Tampa Bay is going to beat them, to be honest.
Tampa Bay is a solid squad. I'm a big Devils fan, so I hate them more than anything right now. If we finally get in the playoffs and they just crush us like that, but they're so talented, especially on offense. I think it's really hard for any team to come at them. You're gonna have to play your best hockey for the entire series. Like, there's not a game where you can take a game off, against the Lightning.
I mean, this was the best Bruins team I've seen in years.
Oh yeah.
And I mean, the Lightning beat them handedly. I mean, that Lightning, and the scary thing about it is Kucherov and Stamkos were held to a combined 6 points the entire series.
Right.
So they essentially beat the Bruins without their 2 best offensive threats. So that's why I have them over the Capitals, because I don't think the Capitals have anyone on their roster that can match up against Kucherov and Stamkos like the Bruins have in Marchand and Bergeron. So, I mean, now you got Braden Point playing unbelievable. He was the best player in that series. And then you have Stamkos and Kucherov, who are going to be able to completely let loose in this series. So, I mean, Tampa Bay, they're scary. They're scary good. And the fact that they're playing in Tampa, obviously, that's why people don't talk about them so much. But, my God, I mean, I was at Game 4 when the Bruins played them in Boston, and they are just a fun team to watch. And they bullied the Bruins. It's rare that you see the Bruins get bullied, and they bullied them.
They just have stupid depth. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Going back to the Capitals, do you think that not winning the President's Trophy kind of took a lot of pressure off of them going into the playoffs this year?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. That's kind of what I meant when I was saying that, like, no one's talking about them.
Right,
I just think, like, I mean, the team that wins the President's Trophy every year, it just seems like doesn't end up winning the Cup. So
it's like a curse.
I know. It's like when the Bruins won it in 2013, everyone's like, oh, no, God, they have the President Cup's curse. Because you almost don't want it, because then you have all the radio guys and the TV people, expecting that these teams should, win the championship, and, then that creates, storylines and headlines about players and distractions. And So yeah, to shorten up my answer, yes, I do.
Now, you saw that picture of Ovechkin after winning the cup, and you could basically just see all of just the Crosby and all saying that he can't make it past the second round. You could just see that just going out of his body almost. Like, physically, he felt relieved. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's awesome. And I'm not sure if, I mean, you guys probably played sports growing up, and, like, that's why you play. Like, that's what you remember, like, you know, when you win your squirt hockey game, and you know, and it means nothing, but you have the same exact kind of celebration. And it's just, it brings you back to those days. And it's obviously so good to see. And, you know, that's kind of why it would be, I've said for the past few years now, like, I would love to see Ovechkin get a cup. Because first off, I can only imagine Ovechkin out partying with the cup. Imagine how crazy that would be. And then Ovechkin, imagine what he would do when he has his day with the cup. I mean, I can only imagine. Yeah. So I just think, I think if Ovechkin is so good for hockey, so, you know, the more we can see him and the more we can get him on a, you know, national stage like this, it's awesome.
The only thing that I wouldn't like about him getting a cup is it would ruin my favorite hockey joke, which, you know, how do you make an Alex Ovechkin? So White Russian with no cup. So,
I like that one. I'm going to use that. I'm going to steal that. I'm not going to lie.
Go for it. Yeah, it's a good one.
I might tweet it.
You might have a limited time with it, though, depending on how he does against the Lightning. So use it quick.
You can still use it. You can still use it now, though.
Yeah,
that is true.
Still good now. I don't know your feelings on the Penguins or Sidney Crosby or anything, but I personally hate him more than any team. Well, I guess Tampa Bay now, but so I think I was almost more happy to see Sidney Crosby lose than I was Alex Ovechkin win. That was a good day for me.
Yeah, it's you know, it's actually weird, man, and I don't want to sound like kind of pretentious at all.
Yeah.
But since I started doing this like Spittin Chiclets podcast, I've like grown to hate players less and appreciate them more. Because when I would say things like, oh, you know, screw Sidney Crosby, he's such a bitch, like Whitney would rip me a new one and be like, well, screw you, Grinnell. This is, you know, the only reason I have that nice car out there is because of Sidney Crosby. So, like, you know, I've kind of taken a step back and, like, really just appreciated how good Sidney Crosby actually is. And, you know, for years and years, I've just hated his guts and, you know, basically wanted the guy dead. But now I'm just at a point where it's like every single night this guy amazes me. And it's and I forget who we had on the podcast. It might have been Taylor Hall that said it. But he's a friggin' beauty. But he said that he's the best grinder in the world. He's a grinder who can score goals. And when you watch him play, and I say that, you're like, Sidney Crosby, a grinder? Yeah. No way. But then when you watch him play, he's unbelievable in the corners. He's unbelievable out front of the net. He never gets knocked off the puck. He's so fun to watch. And, you know, I'll tell you what, I hope I have a son someday, and I will tell him to play exactly like Sidney Crosby, because that's how you want to play the game.
Yeah, it's almost not fair. It's like they got a cheat code. I think that's why I don't like him so much. He's too good at everything.
Well, yeah, and he's in division for you, so it's a little different. Yeah. I mean, if you said you're a Devils fan, then, I mean, it's a little different because, you know, I don't see him as much as you do being a Bruins fan.
For sure.
Do you think that, how much do you think it'll help the league now that the Penguins are out of it and they won't have a three-peat champion?
See, I don't know. I think that a three-time champion would almost be good for the league because, again, it will get people talking about the league.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, that's what the NHL needs most right now. I think, you know, like I kind of just said, as much Sidney Crosby as possible is great because he's so good for the game. But, you know, the whole Crosby-Ovechkin drama and Ovechkin beating Crosby, it's all good for hockey. So I think that's great. I mean, if we have a Vegas, you know, if any of the teams in the West, if they make the Stanley Cup Finals, it's great for the NHL. I mean, there's storylines with all three teams. Winnipeg, I mean, they have that crazy, crazy fan base. Nashville, I mean, God, it's unbelievable down there. Their fans are even crazier than Winnipeg. And then you have Vegas, who is an expansion team, which is, you know, one of the best stories in, you know, sports history. So, I mean, I think regardless, now that Crosby's out, you can focus on, the other stories like the Nashvilles and like the, Las Vegases. But, I mean, I think Sidney Crosby's, at the end of the day, is good for the NHL, and as much of him as possible is good.
Yeah.
And you touched on a little bit earlier the Bruins and Lightning series, and you said that you are a Bruins fan. What do you think ultimately just went wrong in that series?
The Lightning were a better team. At the end of the day, I just thought it came down to, the Lightning were just a better team. The Bruins, a lot of young guys that just, it's their first time playing in the playoffs. So they weren't really ready, or I've talked to a few guys, on the team that have told me that, they're tired. And this was, probably a month ago, month and a half ago, and they said they're tired. And, it's a long season. It's so much longer than their college seasons and their junior seasons. And it's a lot of hockey to be played at that age. And, they're battling injuries and whatnot. So, I think just the young age, they didn't really get much production from their second line, from Rick Nash, David Krejci. And, the injuries was a problem, too. Had to play Zdeno Chara a ton of minutes because, Brandon Carlo went down. And then, Torrey Krug with the ankle injury. And, I'm not going to blame the refs either, but the refs weren't really helping them out in the series either. So, I just think, nothing really went their way. And, but, the thing here in Boston right now is people are upset, but people are happy because in hindsight, they didn't think that this was the Bruins team. And when I say that, I mean that, everyone thought they were going to be a 7th, 8th, a wild card team, barely getting into the playoffs, a borderline team. And, they showed that they're one of the best teams in the Eastern Conference this season. And, that the future is very, very bright here. And if they make, a couple right off-season moves, that they're going to be right back in the same places they were as they were this year. And, the future's bright here. So people really aren't too worried.
Yeah, I was going to ask about the injuries. Did you see, they released some of the injury reports at the end? It seems like everyone on the Bruins team, even the ones that were playing, are, getting hip surgery or something, immediately after the season was over. It's incredible they can play at that level.
It's like, I was telling my buddy this the other day, and as a little kid, I always dreamed of being a professional hockey player when I grew up.
Yeah.
But then you see what these guys have to play through in the playoffs, punctured lung, separated shoulder, broken nose. Screw that! I don't want to do that.
That's ridiculous.
I get half a broken finger, I'm out for 6 months. Zdeno Chara's been playing with a broken, or Noah Chari's been playing with a sports hernia since November. Are you kidding me? Since November? That sucks. That's just not fun.
That sounds terrible.
It's and these guys are just the toughest SOBs on the planet. It's crazy.
Yeah, I think Riley Nash played with a concussion, wasn't he?
Yeah, it's just
it's just no one was healthy in that series.
No, and it's crazy that they're still able to. I'm not sure if you guys played hockey, but the fact that they're able to play hockey at the level that they do.
Oh, exactly.
When they're this banged up, it's what the hell? Holy crap.
Yeah, no, it's ridiculous. I played hockey for 2 weeks, but then my feet hurt on my skates when I was a kid because I was a pussy, so I had to quit. But it's my one regret in sports.
Yeah, it's a tough sport.
So what were you thinking when with Brad Marchand licking everybody out here?
I love it, man.
I did too.
I love it. Again, and I keep saying this, and I stress it. I put it in a lot of my blogs on Barstool, and I say it as much as I can that the NHL right now needs people to talk about it. I feel 5 years ago, 6 years ago, the NHL and the NBA were almost, they were a lot closer than they are now. Now it's the NBA is light years ahead of the NHL. And that's because everyone's always talking about the NBA on social media, on just because you can see their faces and they're always causing drama. And Brad Marchand is just like that. He gets people to talk about the game. And he creates headlines, and, that's good. Obviously, if he's out there, hurting people and he's, throwing cheap shots, that obviously sucks, and you hate to see that. But, if he's licking someone, I could give a shit less. I think it's hilarious. I think I think Brad Marchand's the man. I've had the opportunity to meet him a couple times. He's a great guy. In his postseason press conference, it was kind of discouraging to hear that, he's going to, cut all that stuff out. And he said it's probably going to affect his points and, how many numbers he's putting up, because he said he, almost needs to play like that to get points. And everyone's played a sport growing up with a kid like that like just needs that extra motivation. And, Brad Marchand's that guy. And, if it's going to cost him 15 to 20 points a year because he's not licking people in the face, I'd be pretty pissed. Lick away, buddy.
Well, I think it's crazy. It's hard to pinpoint exactly what's wrong with what he did, because like you say, he's not taking cheap shots. He's not really hurting anybody. But it's weird. Like it's such a power move. I think I love it.
What's annoying to me is like the people that are like, oh, it's sexual misconduct in the workplace.
I saw that too. That's
like,
bullshit.
What? All right, all right. Well, if we're gonna bitch about that, then also you're not allowed to beat the shit out of people in the workplace either. And 2 minutes earlier, 2 guys just punched each other's friggin' lights in. So I mean, we gotta call a spade here. Like, what are we doing here?
Now, if that happened to you while you were playing, do you think you would have been able to keep yourself composed enough to not fight, or are you throwing gloves right away?
I honestly think I would have cross-checked him in the teeth.
Yeah,
I just think like that's just my first reaction. Like, and while you were asking that question, I was kind of like, wait, what would I do? And my first instinct is just like, you got both hands on your stick, and I feel like I would just go right at his teeth, and that's what I do. But I feel like when I got back to the bench, I'd look at the boys and be like, dude, that guy just licked me. Like, what? I would laugh about it when I get back to the bench. How can you not?
Right. It's such a great move. I love it.
I love it too.
Not a lot of people like Brad Marchand, but I'm a big fan of Brad Marchand. I'm a Nashville Predators fan. We'll talk about that game here in a little bit. But before we get to that, the Vegas Golden Knights, what a run.
Oh, it's amazing, man. It's really like I said, it's one of the best stories in sports. It's you're gonna start seeing people trying to start NHL franchises left and right now after the success that they've had. I mean, because usually you start an expansion and it's like the Atlanta Thrashers, like it just sucks and it's just a pain in the ass and they suck for 10, 15 years until the point where you're like, all right, well, we got to move these guys out of town. And this is just awesome. And it's great to see, first off, how great the city of Vegas has, accepted them. I got to go out to Vegas a couple weeks ago. And, man, every bar you go into, like, the bartenders are wearing Vegas Knights apparel. Like, dang. People in the bar are wearing it's crazy. It's almost like when I went down to Nashville. And I know you said we'll talk about that in a little bit. But when you're walking around Nashville, everyone's got the Smashville hockey shirts. And, you just feel like you're like, wow, these people really, really care about hockey. And it's just awesome to see. And it's just so cool when you, like, this is a group of like misfits, they weren't wanted. Their teams literally did not want them. And now, they came together and, there was really only one superstar when this whole thing started, and that was Marc-Andre Fleury. And, oh, my God, has he been unbelievable. He's playing the best hockey of his career.
Oh, yeah.
And, it's really just so fantastic to see. And, if they go to the Cup Finals, I might just, even if it's by myself, I might just hop a flight out to Vegas and just go out and just see what the environment's like out there. I bet this trip would be crazy for Stanley Cup Finals.
I can't even imagine. Well, even the games now, they're putting on like circus shows and stuff during intermissions. Like Vegas is such a crazy atmosphere for sports. Like I'm super excited for everything down there.
It's insane, and the NFL's coming, so I can't wait to see how that's going to be. But yeah, it's really something special.
I love when people said like Vegas isn't going to be a good sports town because they have so much else going on. I was like, this is like the perfect sports city because they have so much going on. They can incorporate that into their games now. Like I said with Vegas, they're doing an intermission and stuff. Like they're having like dancers and all this other crap on the ice. Like they make it just way more fun for everyone there.
I agree, and honestly, that's like an unbelievable point, and I never thought about that because when you think about modern day sports and like how the problem the NHL, MLB, NBA, and NFL they're all having is getting people off their phones and to watch the game and to pick their head up from their phone. Well, Vegas is doing an unbelievable job of keeping your phone in your pocket.
Like, God, yeah.
You don't even want to like remove your head from the ice because they have all these crazy, sword fights and all this. Yeah. People are jousting at center ice, and it's like, my God, it's like it's the entertainment aspect in Vegas. It's like they capitalized on it, and it's just like I don't mean to keep bringing up Nashville, but I mean it's just like they do in Nashville in between periods with like the mini country concerts. It's like they're capitalizing on their crowd, and it's perfect. I wish more cities did it.
Well, you're also bringing in a lot of people who weren't like originally hockey fans too, because there's so much to do in Vegas. Like, am I going to pay $500 to see like Garth Brooks again, or do I want to go to a hockey game and still see some entertainment on the side? Plus, catch some sports too. Like, if you're going out there with your wife or something, it's easy to talk them in and be like, hey, there's going to be dancers or something during intermission, so you can get best of both worlds there.
Yeah, exactly. And I really wish Boston was a city full of, new hockey fans, because there's just so many pretentious D-bags here that just think they know everything about the Bruins. And when you go watch a game, they're just like miserable the entire time. They're just like, oh, Marchand sucks, Rask sucks, Bergeron sucks. Like the kid next to me at Game 4 is sitting there ripping on Patrice Bergeron. And I'm like, buddy, like, what are you doing? Who are you, one? Second off, Patrice Bergeron is one of the best players in the NHL. Right. So, you shut your mouth right there. It's just like, oh man, these cities like Nashville and Vegas and even Tampa. Tampa's crowd is unbelievable. It's just like their fans are just so happy and they love the game.
There's like a tangible electricity in these cities when they go there to play. It's great to watch.
There really is.
So Game 7 is going to happen tonight. Like we said, this episode will air Friday. So let's do a little bit of prediction. Like, what do you think will happen in that game?
Nashville, baby. Nashville. I've like I said, I went down to Stanley Cup Finals last year. Games 3 and 4 I was at. And I've never seen an arena like I saw the Bridge. Like, the Bridge Storm was... I became I'm a Nashville Predators fan. Like, I will say that till the day I die. I will say that till the day I die. When the Bruins are out and when the Bruins are not playing, I am a Nashville Predators fan just from that weekend. I like to say that it was a mix of SEC football and Premier League soccer inside that stadium.
Oh, my God, that's awesome.
You have the, drunk rednecks of the SEC football that are just going absolutely bananas. And then you have the chants and, like, the coordination of the crowd, like the Premier League soccer. And it's like the ladies that were sitting next to us were like, all right, they gave us a little card. And it's like, all right, here's what we do after goals. Here's what we do after penalties. Here's what we do, at the 1 minute remaining in the period. And I was like, oh, my
God. That's fantastic.
Yeah, it's crazy there. And so I just think that, the home ice advantage is going to, play its part tonight. And I got Nashville. I got my boy, PK Subban. I like to say he's my best friend because, I met him when I was down in Nashville last time and we became best friends. So, so I got the Preds. Who do you boys like?
I agree with you. I like the Predators in this too. Obviously, Tuck does too because he's a Predators fan. But
right.
I think if this game was going to be in Winnipeg, it's a different story. Yeah. But because it's in Nashville,
such a different story.
Yeah, because it's in Nashville, I think you got to give it to the Preds here. It'll be a good game though. Overtime.
I'll be honest. I think Winnipeg might be a better team. I do. Like Winnipeg is a friggin' wagon. Like they are so good, and they're so big, they're so fast, and they have so many goal scorers. And I just think like they are the better team here. But just that Nashville crowd, man, it's something else. And I said that the second the buzzer rang at the end of last season when Pittsburgh beat the Predators, I said I guarantee you the Nashville Predators win the Stanley Cup next season, and I bet they do.
I sure hope so. I really hope so. It took a lot out of me to see Sidney Crosby bounce PK's head off the ice, then throw a water bottle onto the ice and get nothing. And I think that the Preds can win tonight. I really do. It just worries me. They've had two separate teams, it seems like, show up to these games. But they need the team that showed up in Game 6, because that team...
They need Rene.
They do.
They need Rene to play good.
They do, but that defense in front of them really has to play well, too. If you look at the games that Rene's played bad, the defense has also played bad.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So are you from Nashville? How did you become a Predators fan?
No, actually, it's funny. My uncle owns a bar down on Broadway, Tin Roof.
Oh, he owns the Tin Roof?
Yeah, he's CEO of it.
Oh, all right. I got to get your phone number after this.
Hey, for real.
Oh, my God. I'll tell you. So since I like to consider myself a not an advocate, but a ambassador of Nashville. I like to consider myself the Boston ambassador to Nashville because everyone, ever since I went down last year, I probably get, no joke, I probably get 1 or 2 DMs a week of people saying, yo, I'm going down to Nashville, bachelor party, bachelorette party, where do I go? First bar I always say is the Tin Roof.
Oh, yeah.
No way.
I swear to God, I swear. Second bar I always say is Honky Tonk Central, and third is Tootsie's. But I always say the Tin Roof. Now, there's 2 Tin Roofs in Nashville, right?
Right. There's one on Broadway, then there's one on Demumbrian.
Okay, so I went to the one on, I spent a lot of time at the one on Demumbrian because I heard that's where the locals hang.
It is. That's a local one.
And I had an unbelievable time there.
The one on Broadway plays live music 24/7. It's just an amazing atmosphere. They have the upper porch too, that you can go hang out. You can see the stadium right from that upper deck too.
Yeah, it's really unbelievable there. So hey, good for you, man. That must be a good time when you head down there.
Oh, it is. I really enjoy it. He's got quite the bar down there. Got quite the business.
That's awesome. So and that just turned into just being a Preds fan.
Yeah, my interest in hockey started about a couple of years ago. I was just done with NBA. I didn't want to do it anymore, and hockey was really the sport that I turned to, and I needed to pick a new team. I actually live in Missouri. I didn't want to pick the Blues because I was never really a big Blues fan because I think their fans are too pretentious. Sorry, but they don't have a cup. They're too pretentious to not have a cup, so I went down to Nashville and caught a game there, and that's when I decided that was my team right there.
Yeah, they're a wagon, man. They're fun to watch. It's a great time down there, so you picked the right squad.
Oh, yeah. Well, what else can we talk? Well, the Jets, the Jets are just, you touched on it earlier, they're big and they're fast. And Laine's only scored 1 goal, too, and I think that's really the big reason that the Predators have been able to do what they've done, is they've been able to hold Laine to only 1 goal.
Yeah, I don't think Ehlers has scored yet.
No, he hasn't found it, no.
Yeah, so, when you're shutting down, Ehlers had, 29 goals this season?
Yeah.
So, yeah, you shut down a 29-goal scorer, then you shut down, Line have 40 goals? So, you shut down those two. That's 60-something goals right there you're shutting down. So, yeah, that's huge. That's probably what their game plan was to, you shut off Patrick Laine, you win the series. So, I'm guessing that's their game plan tonight. Lock him off. Especially you can't let him get on that half wall. Once he gets on that half wall, and they start working around. You never want to see that. Last game too, I believe it was 9 shots on goal, and only 2 of them hit the net.
Right. Yeah.
That's terrible. Buddy, what are you doing? You got to hit the net. That's what we're here for. You got to hit the net. So it doesn't. I think if Laine can score tonight, if Laine can find the back of the net, the Jets might pull this one away.
It worries me. It really does. Because I never know when he's going to be able to get it going, and I don't know what Preds team is going to show up. We really want.
It's like Ovechkin.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what it is.
Yeah,
we really need to focus on the Preds and limiting penalties too. That's going to be huge in this game, I think, too. Because that's something they've struggled with all season, really, but really, especially in the playoffs.
Yeah, and you need Subban, man. Subban is one guy who, from his years in Montreal, there's nobody in the NHL that can quiet a crowd faster than PK Subban, and there's no one in the NHL that can get a crowd louder than PK Subban can. So,
for sure.
I want to see PK Subban score a goal early tonight, and then do one of those sellies where he, does the Bowen lasso or does something crazy. And man, if he can score early and get that Nashville crowd going,
that's going to be huge.
I'd live bet him. I would live bet the shit out of him.
So you have a new episode of Spittin Chiclets out. You got Biz Nasty joined the crew not too long ago. I was really excited to see that. Love to hear that guy talk about hockey.
Yeah. Biz is a beauty. He's been a great addition. He's dropping his documentary May 14th. Biz Nasty Does BC on Barstool Sports. So everyone obviously should go check that out. It's a 5-part documentary that's going to be releasing over 5 days. So it will be the 14th, 15th, 16th, 17th, and 18th of next week. Nice. it's unbelievable, boys. And, I can tell you guys, as hockey fans, you guys will love it. There's really, I've never watched anything. There's been like no type of, movie or documentary ever made like this where, it's funny, it incorporates hockey, it incorporates modern hockey players. It's really something special. And, we're happy to add Biz to the team. It's been awesome so far. He has so many ideas. This summer is going to be awesome. He has a ton of ideas planned. And then next season, we're going to hit the ground running with Biz, and we have a ton of new ideas, and it's going to be fun. And, we've already released a new shirt, the Russian gas shirt. So if you want to go buy that at store.barstoolsports.com, we'd really appreciate it. And, yeah.
So, who's your favorite guest? We'll wrap it up with this. Who's your favorite guest that you've ever had on Spittin Chiclets?
Oh God, that's a tough one. I was a big fan of when we had Taylor Hall on down in New York City, but over the summer, last summer, we got to have Ike's on, Jack Eichel.
Oh yeah, that was a good interview.
Yeah, I got to know him a bit. He's a good kid. Charlie McAvoy. Charlie's a great kid. I've kind of become friends with Charlie from that interview, which was cool. Who else? Keith Yandel. Keith Yandel was a really funny one. He's a beaut. Matt Murley, one of Witt's friends overseas. He was Mike Motto was hilarious when he came on. Another one of Witt's buddies. He's a longtime NHL guy. So overall, though, I'd probably say my favorite was probably Taylor Hall. I'd have to go with Taylor Hall down in New York City.
I'd agree with you.
He was a really good guy. He stayed and talked to us for a while, and especially after this past season that he had, he's unbelievable and he's a superstar.
It's awesome.
Yeah, no, I'm super excited for him in the rest of his career.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun to watch. I mean, you guys robbed Peter Chiarelli of that one.
Oh my God, yeah, that was awesome.
That guy stinks.
Well, hey, Mikey, thanks for coming on. And hey, if you could help us out with getting some of those guys, would be greatly appreciated.
Of course, boys. Of course. Thanks for having me, and yeah, it was fun. I'll ask them, and we'll see what we can do.
All right.
Awesome.
Tell the boys you said hello.
Will do, my friend.
Big thanks to Mikey Grinnell for coming on the podcast. Had a great conversation about hockey. Make sure to go check out his podcast, Spittin Chiclets. It's uploaded weekly on iTunes.
Hey, Tucker, how about them Preds?
I don't really want to talk about it right now.
I mean, talk about it in the interview, though.
What's wrong with you?
Curse.
It's the President's Cup curse. I'm sad. Stay tuned. Look for my blog in memorandum of the 2017-2018 Nashville Predators. I need a couple days to digest my thoughts, and then it'll be published. Stay tuned. That's all I have to say about that.
I think it's because you guys smashed a plane and not a jet.
I think it's because we smashed a plane, not a car.
No,
we
that's
smashed
not, no.
cars.
You should have smashed two.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Not smashing enough.
Let's
Didn't
move
you guys
on.
smash a pile of snow for Colorado?
No. Let's move on to baseball. Canadian James Paxton tosses a no-no in his home country of Toronto. Interesting fact, I saw since 2013... No, that's not true. Since the beginning of this season. I'm going to restart that fact. In this season, there's been 3 no-hitters thrown in 3 different countries.
That's pretty wild.
That is wild, isn't it?
I'm kind of getting desensitized to no-hitters. Did you guys see that stat that this is like the biggest year for no-hitters in like the last 30 years or something? Like it's starting to seem like everyone is throwing no-hitters. Like it's not as special anymore.
It's on pace to be. A couple years ago, we had a crap ton of no-hitters. It was like the Pacers year. I don't remember what year it was, but we had a crap ton. And I don't know. I still love it. I was a pitcher, so I love pitcher stats. So I love it. I love pitcher things.
I mean, at a certain point, you're just watching 2 guys play catch, Like, it gets boring after a while. I want to see some bombs.
Yeah, I think it's safe to say that Shane loves seeing dongs.
Some bombs.
Nah, bro.
It's a thesaurus, Shane. He's just giving you a different word.
I'm the thesaurus guy.
Kobe's got dongs on the brain.
But yeah, so that they're listening to mine over here.
Oh, I do have a fun stat to say. Are you ready for my fun stat?
I'm ready for it.
James Paxton had an above 11 ERA before that bald eagle tried to land on him. Since the bald eagle has landed on him, he's thrown a 16 strikeout game and a no-hitter. So, USA, am I right? He's been touched by the hand of God.
I'm putting Benjamin Franklin on the hot seat. He wanted that stupid turkey to be our national bird. Well, he was dead wrong, and that's why he had an STD.
A lot of them.
Good point.
No, eagles are apparently good for baseball. We should send more eagles in the stadium to attack pitchers, and then we'll have a lot more no-hitters.
Are eagles good for sports?
As well.
Ah, shut up.
No! Boom!
I hate them so much.
Yankees and Red Sox having a good series in the Bronx. Yankees take over first place after a 17-1 run, beating some really good teams, too, like Houston and Boston, like we just mentioned.
Well, we declared it the Anti-Yankees podcast, and we were all so high on the Red Sox, with the great start that they got off to. I think that sometimes a fast start in baseball or a slow start in baseball, I think kind of like throw fans kind of off their mindset, Like the Royals last year got off to just an abysmal start. Everybody said season's over, sell everybody. Then we were one game behind the Central leading, was it the Indians who were leading the Central last year?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
At the All-Star, yeah. We were behind the Indians by one game when All-Star break rolled around. Then everybody gets pissed when we give the players away. So I think just kind of knowing that the baseball season is 162 games, the Yankees are having their moment right now. This is going to be a battle all year. I think that the Yankees, the run they've been on, is more indicative of the team that everybody in the offseason thought we would see from New York. Aaron Judge is not hitting nearly as many home runs, but still batting over 300. You're not seeing the massive strikeout numbers from him like you are from, say, Stanton, whose game's been picked up considerably by guys like Didi Gregorius. The pitching staff for the Yankees has been fantastic, with Luis Severino probably being the front runner for the Cy Young at this point in the American League. I know it's early, but he's had a hell of a start to the season. And this rivalry is in a tremendous place right now, with the Yankees and Red Sox both being at the top of their game. I think it's going to make for a really, really fun AL East. And this run that the Yankees have been on to get them back in is just what baseball needed, honestly.
This is why baseball is crazy, though, because you can lose like 20 games in a row, then go on and win 20 games in a row, and no one knows who's good and who's bad until October rolls around, honestly. Like, you can lose 20 straight games and still make it into the playoffs and sometimes. Like, that's ridiculous. Name another sport you can do that.
Right. No, there's really
there aren't even 20 games in a football season, so you couldn't do that in football.
It's impossible.
The Browns lost 20 straight.
Here. Yeah, Montae had to remind us that the Royals are not doing well, and we know that.
We got some offense in the other day.
They lost today. They lost today 11-6, and they had like a 6-4 lead.
I know.
Against the Orioles. The Orioles are trash.
You had a grand slam in the first inning and lost.
Yeah, against maybe the worst team in baseball.
I don't know.
You guys just
what's worse?
You guys wasted all your runs yesterday. You scored what?
Yeah.
15-5.
You're only allotted so many for a series.
That's a good point. We should stop using them so
How
fast.
wild would that be if that was actually a rule in baseball? You could only score so many runs in a series.
You get 21 runs a series. That's it.
But only if you score them.
Yeah.
They're carryover.
You don't just get them.
Yeah, they're carryover innings. So it's like if you beat a team by 5, you have 5 extra runs you can use sparingly. So say you're down in the 9th inning, walk it off. Here's 2 runs.
This really seems like a rule Rob Manfred would try to put into baseball.
Oh, definitely is.
Yeah.
I don't like that guy.
No, I think we're anti-Rob Manfred podcast.
That's already been declared. And the Atlanta Braves also continue to look really good. They got some young guys. Acuna is one of those guys that when you see his swing, it's so beautiful, so fluid. That dude can launch a ball too. I might.
Shenanigans.
Oh.
But yeah, we brought that back, so you have to marry his swing now.
I was the one that abolished it, so how can it be brought back under my...
We created another amendment.
I'm telling Margaret.
All right, well, the NL and AL Central have no separation. No one really wants to win the AL Central. Everyone's under 500. The NL Central, those are KB's boys. Aside from Cincinnati, 4 teams are separated by just 1 game.
Yeah, the NL Central has a lot of good teams in it, but none of them are really operating to the fullest of their capabilities right now. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like everybody's offense is struggling. I know the Cardinals, their three main pieces in three of their main pieces in Ozuna, Carpenter, and whoever else. They're just not playing too well right now. They're all in slumps. I know Chicago, their whole team seemingly slumping right now. And Tuck, where are your Brewers at? Are they in third?
I don't know.
No.
Yeah, I saw. We were here. We were watching the Red Sox and Yankees.
Second in the NL Central.
Second.
Mm-hmm.
We were watching the Red Sox-Yankees game today on MLB Network. They had a rain delay. They cut to the Brewers game where they were playing the Rockies, and they gave a stat and it said the Brewers are 14-1 against teams with a losing record. And I'm not sure exactly what their overall record is, but the fact that they're 14-1 against losing teams means that they are really, really struggling against the better teams in the leagues. And they said 17 of their next 20 games are against teams with a winning record, which means that we're going to learn a lot more about the Brewers coming up here.
Isn't every team in the AL Central now under 500?
Yeah.
Yeah, it sucks. Even the Indians suck.
They're in first place. I think they're 17 and 18 right now, aren't they?
Well, they're actually at 500 now. They're 18 and 18. They still suck.
Wow.
Comparatively to like the Yankees, Red Sox, Astros.
Yeah.
Whoever wins the AL Central is just
Yankees best team in the league.
Whoever wins the AL Central is going to be like the tallest midget. You know, like, good for you, but you're not really accomplishing much out there.
yeah. It's like Brewster and Sam Phillips comparing height over there. Completely agree with you.
Gannon keeps subtly saying that the Yankees are the best team in the league.
Bro, it's not so subtle over here. You just barely hearing it.
Well, I mean, we'd have to look up the stats, but statistically, like right now, they might be. You know, they went 17-1 over the last 18. They might be. You know,
They'll stay there in October.
Weren't y'all getting shelled when we turned the game off?
No, they're only down one run now. They tied it up, but
Damn.
Martinez hit a home run in the eighth.
Mm-hmm.
They're up one.
It's fine.
You challenging me?
5-4 sucks.
They just got ahead.
You nervous? Gannon's nervous.
No, I'm not. We were in the same position last night.
And
you know what happened? Gardner delivered, then Aaron Judge delivered.
Hey, you know, that's what's kind of nice about having a team that sucks right now. I don't have to be nervous about the Canes because it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, like if you win a game, you're more like, you're just shocked, honestly.
Surprised, yeah.
Like, when the Royals had that 10 on first inning, I got
blown away.
kind of like the Colts during football season right now. I'm just like, oh, really? Okay, that's how we're
down.
gonna do it.
Yeah.
All right.
So
Jacoby
that's how you
Brissett,
win.
little 7-yard out, or like whenever their defense gets a sack, I'm like, wow, oh, we're doing that today. Okay.
I made a tweet the other day, and I quote tweeted one from Fangraphs, and it said, "Does anyone in the AL Central want to win the division?" And I simply quote tweeted it and said, "Nah."
I don't think so.
I don't think anybody actually wants to win the division.
It kind of reminds me of that one episode of South Park where they're all trying to lose, so they don't have to play anymore, so they just all play terribly. And that's what everyone in the AL Central is doing right now.
I think so. I think that's actually coming to fruition.
Yeah,
good word.
Thanks.
I think Cleveland will end up winning it because Cleveland, they shouldn't be because that city is so used to losing. But the Indians will probably end up winning this division, whether they like it or not. And first round, it'll be that Indians team, or divisional round of the postseason will be whoever doesn't win the AL East against the Indians. And
yeah, no, that's a very Cleveland thing to do. The only thing you win is like the conference championship that no one wanted to win. So like while they're all playing golf and stuff, you have to go get your ass kicked in the first round of the playoffs, and then you can retire. You know, after that.
And
very Cleveland move.
There's really not a lot of. You just really say that there's not a whole lot of hope for any team besides the Red Sox, Yankees, and Astros in the American leagues right now, just because those three teams are so dominant right now. So whoever wins the AL Central, like at least the way they're playing right now, would be assured out first round in the postseason.
Final thoughts?
Yeah, I've got one. Mine's more of a question than anything. But are eyebrows considered facial hair?
Yes.
Boy, hell, get your ass out of here.
No, Montae Salty. He one of those black guys that can't grow a beard. So
First off, hey.
no, he can't grow one. He's salty.
He shaves, but he also can't grow one.
Don't come for me on the internet.
Toby, you can't grow one either.
Yeah, Toby, what the hell are you talking about?
What? Mine's clean shaven right now. I do for work. I can grow I can grow some stuff. The Yankees just got a base hit and Gannon tossed his phone.
I did not mean to do all of that. I'm just happy that we get it.
Tucker's got enough neck beard for all of us.
Yo, yeah, I do.
That's us, yeah.
I gotta shave it now. I'm gonna go shave it because I lost.
Yeah.
My playoff beard's gone.
Speaking of, my final thought. So, yesterday in concert, Justin Timberlake started a Let's Go Preds chant.
There's the curse.
Oh, we lost.
Yeah, and tonight he's going to cry us a river, so. My bad, Tuck. I had to throw that in there.
Holy crap.
KB, what's your final thought?
My final thought, more leagues need relegation. We got to get rid of these bad teams, and replace them.
Anything.
Because, Tucker, I'm sorry, but your team's probably going to get relegated in soccer.
Yeah, whatever.
Oh, who's your
Swansea.
Tuck's a Swansea fan.
see.
Champions right here. It's easy to cheer for Barcelona, though. I
was talking about Manchester City, but
anyway, my team's sitting comfortably in 15th place, so we're gonna avoid it this year. And next year we'll be in top 10. Top 10. I'm not setting my sights too high. Top 10.
If the NFL had relegation, do you think Cleveland would just not exist anymore?
They go to the. We couldn't go to the CFL because those are different rules.
Well, the CFL would come down here. And we just make our field bigger, more offense,
Bring up the Arena Football Champions, downgrade the Browns. Let's see what happens.
Yeah, the Philadelphia Eagles is going to be a rivalry.
That'd be like when your 11-man football team has to play the 8-man football team. The 8-man football team killed our team because we're like, we don't know how to play 8-man football, but everybody killed our football team. So.
An NFL team with 8 players can honestly beat an 11-man team Browns. So maybe not now. They could last.
I was like, well, man, that's a hot.
Not now, but definitely last year.
He didn't promise hot takes when this started, and that was like one of the hottest ones I've heard. So,
Tuck, you got any final thoughts?
Yeah, my final thought here at Nosebleed Knowledge, we've released 2 new podcasts. First and 10 with Shane and Toby. They dropped their first episode on Wednesday, and they'll do that on every Wednesday so they can recap all the games through the weekend, even get that Monday Night Football game in, and they'll give you previews of the Thursday night games and the games through the weekend. So make sure you're looking out for First and 10 podcast. The second podcast we dropped is with KB and I. Turn 2, strictly baseball podcast, so baseball fans rejoice. We'll have a demo episode coming out on Sunday. Monday, our first full episode will drop, so make sure you're paying attention to that. You can listen to all of those on iTunes and YouTube.
If anything, just listen to the intros, because the intros are lit. They're super lit.
I did do pretty well in the intros, if I do say so myself.
Yeah.
A humble brag.
Yeah, hey, you gotta have them. That'll do it for this week's episode of Nosebleed Radio. Gannon, thanks for coming on. Montae, thanks for giving us a little shout.
Thank you guys for having me again.
Hey, no problem. Big thanks to Mikey Grinnell once again of Spittin Chiclets. That's been episode 14. Follow us on Twitter at Nosebleed Snow. Like us on Facebook, Nosebleed Knowledge. We'll see ya.